Hello everyone, welcome to your weekly tech update, the show that explores the newest, coolest, and craziest side of tech available on the interwebs. I am your tech leader, Ray McNeil. Coming up on the program today, Red Dead Redemption 2 is now playable unofficially in VR. This 2,040 horsepower electric hypercar is making some crazy battery promises. Happening in this week's What the? Two bike stories. The first one is just not smart, and the second, while still not smart, takes some serious skill. And of course, we'll wrap up the program with this week's Moment of Joy. All that and a whole lot more coming up on today's edition of your weekly tech update next. The creator of the Real GTA 5 VR mod has just released a VR support mod for Red Dead Redemption 2. Accessible via modder Luke Ross's Patreon page, the mod is currently in early access and will continue to receive more improvements over time. Judging by the footage courtesy of Upload VR, it's looking pretty good, and the whole game is playable in either first or third-person perspective. Ross explains in his Patreon that building VR support for Red Dead Redemption 2 requires a ground-up approach. The code for his GTA 5 mod could not serve as a base for this project. The game is much more advanced than GTA 5 from a technical point of view, and the graphics API it supports are similarly more complex. I had to create a whole new framework for VR injection. Basically everything I had built for GTA 5 was now useless and needed rewriting from scratch. The mod is the result of 6 months of full-time work, hence the move to Patreon. You'll need to become a patron to access the mod at the moment. Ross has ambitious plans to add VR support to Cyberpunk 2077, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Assassin's Creed Valhalla as well, which patrons will gain access to if and when they're released. While the footage only shows Red Dead Redemption 2's dreadfully protracted and snowy prologue, it shows how seamlessly the game's UI has been implemented, at least if you're using a gamepad. But do expect some jarring camera hijacks whenever a cutscene arises. Despite ongoing advances in the field of underwater, remotely operated vehicles, or ROVs, the devices have remained tethered to the surface via communication cables. Such is not the case with the X-ray, however, which uses light instead. Because radio waves don't travel well through water, ROVs currently have to be linked to their surface-located operator via a long cable that sends commands down to the vehicle, and that relays real-time video back up. In many cases, the cable also provides power to the ROV, although some models are powered by their own onboard batteries. In any case, because the reeled cable can be quite heavy, fairly large surface vessels are typically required to carry it. What's more, the cable can get snagged on underwater objects, potentially resulting in the loss of the ROV. That's where the X-ray comes in, billed as being the world's first wireless underwater drone. It's currently being developed by Swiss startup Hydromea. The functioning prototype utilizes the company's existing Luma underwater communication system, which transmits binary data through the water via rapid pulses of light. We've seen this concept explored previously, although not to the point that it's actually been incorporated into an ROV. In more detail, Luma sends pulses of 470 nanometer blue LED light back and forth between the two optical modems. Because the data is transmitted at a rate of 10 megabits per second, even HD video from the X-ray's onboard camera can be relayed with virtually no lag. There are some limitations, however, as Hydromea co-founder Alexander Barr says that the ROV currently has a communications range of about 164 feet in clear water and complete darkness. That figure decreases as ambient light levels increase. Having said that, the company is aiming for a range of at least 328 feet, which should increase as the technology is developed further. Additionally, the vehicle is intended mainly for enclosed space tasks, such as the inspection of ship ballast tanks, so long range isn't necessarily much of an issue at this point. The X-Ray itself, in its current incarnation, is 27.5 inches long, weighs about 15 pounds, and features a total of 7 hubless thrusters, giving it 6 degrees of freedom maneuverability. Although with its zoom-capable HD camera, it also sports dual LED spotlights and a battery runtime of 6 to 8 hours. More detailed specs and pricing should be announced when it's commercially released, which Barr says ought to happen late next year. In the meantime, you can watch the prototype doing its thing in the video online. Italy's automobile Estrema is living up to its name with absurd performance figures for its first product. The Fulminia electric hypercar promises an absurd 2,040 all-wheel drive horsepower and 0 to 200 miles per hour acceleration in less than 10 seconds. As mad as those figures sound, there's no reason they can't be real. Indeed, there are a cluster of cars now in various stages of development sitting around the 2,000 horsepower mark. You can more or less have as much power as you want in an electric supercar. Heat and battery considerations are really your only limits. Indeed, there are so many ludicrously overpowered electrics being developed right now that even though this would be the most powerful production car in the world if it launched today, our eyes are starting to glaze over when we see numbers like these. I'm sure my eyes wouldn't glaze over if I hopped in one and actually got to stomp on the pedal, or they might glaze over permanently, but we now live in a world where basically no peak power promise can move an eyebrow. It's the battery system that has our eyebrows working overtime. Have a look at this. The Estrema Fulminia will be the first street-legal hypercar to be equipped with an innovative hybrid battery pack, which uses a combination of solid-state cells paired with ultra-capacitors. With its hybrid battery pack of 100 kilowatt hours, the expected range will be 323 miles. Thanks to the innovative solid-state cells, the high-performance hybrid battery will reach an unprecedented energy density of 450 watt-hours per kilogram, with a predicted weight of under 661 pounds and a total curb weight of 3,300 pounds. That type of battery power would be impressive even if this thing didn't have to carry around the high-powered but low-energy bulk of an ultra-capacitor. If Automobile Estrema, and more to the point, its battery partner, managed to get such a thing to market in 2023 as promised, then this truly will be big news. The company says it's building 61 Fulminias in Italy's Motor Valley.